So I was asked just to bring a little bit of lens of research when we're thinking about, like, for folks who are maybe in an ERG or being developed, like, how do we focus what to develop, which is most important for today's modern times, especially as we think about, like, skills have an incredibly short half-life. So what are the actual, like, behaviors or mindsets that we should really focus in on? So what I prepared to share today is data that comes out of BetterUp Labs. This is our behavioral research arm. If you've heard of the organizations, there's a whole arm dedicated to analyzing all the data that comes from a whole lot of, if you know us well, coaching sessions, essentially. The data comes from here, 360s. So essentially, what are the skills, behaviors, mindsets that direct reports are saying today are the most important behaviors, mindsets that make the best modern day manager, and again, defined by 360 feedback scores.
One of the things I was sharing based on my experience at Sears was from the L&D standpoint, we helped with leadership development, and for the particular ERG group that I supported, we had a lot of young leaders leading, and these were people who didn't necessarily have direct reports, and so they had to learn to lead from a place of influence. And so, at the time we subscribed to the CCL model of the leading self, leading others, leading the business. And we found out that teaching these young leaders, the whole thing about leaders is self, right? And building their self-efficacy so that they are more confident in their interactions. And through some key tools that we had used within our leadership development programs and with interns as well, they created this leadership map, and the process of the work, they would present those back to their own managers and to others. And you can just see the sort of the before and after effect of when their confidence is higher, because they have taken time to explore their own definition of leadership, their values, their motivators, their strengths, the traits that they most want to aspire to, right, and demonstrate. And they just showed up differently after that training.
My wrap up is that these ERGs are a learning and development, a leadership development vehicle. When we think about that 70-20 role and really starting to utilize them more intentionally to building that capability, it's critical. And so we have a handful that are really getting it, and we are promoting those stories internally about individuals that their ERG experience has been a lift or a catalyst for promotion of advancement, and they really can point directly to what they got, and we really kind of tailored around this experience, exposure, and then education, and very similar to what we as learning and development professionals use as our 70-20-10 rule. And so that's my encouragement, is how do we continue to intentionally and purposefully integrate those opportunities into our L&D strategies.
Just to talk a little bit about an example from my own experience, I was involved with Ability at AbbVie, and that's an employee resource group, ERG, at AbbVie, that is for people with disabilities and their allies. And one of the things that we found is that AbbVie could do better in terms of inclusion in recruitment, and then that broader education around disability awareness.